Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. In addition to last Friday's Deck Profile Friday, where I went over the Palkia VStar Ice Rider Calyrex VMax deck that I played at the League Challenge this past Wednesday, I also did play in an additional League Challenge this past Friday, and I played a very similar list to Wednesday's list. I played the same deck, which obviously Palkia VStar Ice Rider Calyrex VMax, and I just wanted to kind of go over the list on the couple changes that I made, and then just kind of how my matches went. So without further ado, let's go. So 2 Palkia VStar, right, which is the bread and butter for the deck, right, with the 3 Palkia V, right. So Palkia V obviously ruled the region there, searches for a stadium, which is cool. And then Palkia VStar is an attacker with subspace swell, which can do a max of 260 damage with no modifiers. Right, 60 plus 20 more for each bench, and it's mainly there for Star Portal, which allows you to attach up to 3 water energy from your discard to any of your water Pokemon in any way you like. So it's an incredibly useful card, and they have a battle deck coming out. On I think it's actually this Friday. It's coming out. With Palkia VStar in it as well. And you get a Radiant Greninja too, so it's an awesome thing to pick up, right? It's one of my favorite products, and if you're new, I highly recommend picking up one of the not the V battle deck, but the League battle deck, right? It's pretty much a tournament-ready deck to play with. And then 2 Ice Rider Calyrex VMax with 2 Ice Rider Calyrex V. So the other attacker, right, it's there for Max Lance, right? Max Lance does 10 damage. Then you can discard up to 2 water energy from it, right? It doesn't specify which energy, right? Which is actually really cool. And it'll do 120 more damage for each energy discarded, max of 2. So you can hit for 250 damage with this, which is, just 30 shy of a V-Star. So if you play it with a Choice Belt or a Defiance Band, you're able to hit that perfect 280, which is awesome. Next, the 2 Revavroom. Right, so the 2 Revavroom, much like Bibarel, it's for the draw, right, with the loss of Quick Ball. Revavroom's Rumbling Engine is incredibly useful. You can discard an energy card from your hand to draw cards until you have 6. Right, and that's the only reason why we play it. 2 Varoom, so I like this Varoom a lot better than the other one. First, I think the attack is a lot better. Poison Gas. The opponent's active is poisoned. And then the retreat cost is a lot better because against Lost Zone decks, they'll have that Beach Court in play, which makes basic Pokemon have a 1 retreat cost less. So it pretty much gives it a free retreat, which makes it a perfect switch into. Next, the double Empoleon V. So this was one of the changes that I made, right? With how prevalent Lost Box is. I think it's it's up for a debate, but it's definitely one of the top 5 decks. And the Emperor Eyes ability shuts down all basic Pokemon abilities except for Pokemon with a rule box. So incredibly useful. A Drapion V, for the Mew matchup. A Lumineon V to search, for that supporter when needed. And then lastly, a Radiant Greninja for the concealed cards and the Moonlight Shuriken. Yes, Moonlight Shuriken is used, especially against Guardy players. If they don't bench that mana fee, like if it's prized, being able to turn 2 Moonlight Shuriken 2 rolls is absolutely huge, right? And as well, it's really good against Lost Zone decks because you're able to target those Comfies. So there you go. That is the Pokemon. Really quick there. Now we'll go over the trainers. All right, so the trainers. I did make a couple changes. Right, I wanted to make it a little bit more consistent. Right, one of the issues that I did have was just drawing some dead cards when I needed to draw some cards to further the game state. So we do have 3 Irida, the best supporter of the deck, right? Search for a water Pokemon and an item card, which is awesome. 3 Melony, right? Attach a water energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon V if you do draw 3 cards. Really good to combo with Ice Rider Calyrex VMax. 2 Boss's Orders. So this is one of the changes that I made. Right, I had 3, but I dropped it to 2 because this was a dead card. On turns where I needed an actual draw card. We got an Arven here. This is pretty much the 4th Irida, right? And it fetches our tools. Judge, some hand disruption. Professor's Research, good draw card. Raihan, right? This card is incredibly useful. I've used it so much. A Roxanne, right? Nice come from behind card. And then lastly, the 3rd boss went to a Serena. Right? So Serena here is a boss's orders, but as well is some draw. And I can discard water energy with it. So I can star portal them as well. So I think it's a great addition. And I think it makes it more consistent. Next are counter stadiums. 2 Temple of Sinnoh, right, for that Lugia matchup, right, super important, right, you want to always keep it in hand, and then when you're ready to knock out their Lugia with that V-Guard energy attached, you play this, and then you knock it out. Really simple. It's also good against Mew as well, right, it disrupts their Fusion Strike energies and their Double Turbo energies. Consistency, Battle VIP Pass, Ultra Ball, and 3 Nest Ball. That's our Pokemon search, right? Incredibly consistent. 2 Choice Belts, an extra 30 damage to Pokemon V. It is a V dominant format right now, right? So you still want to play it. Now, I've also heard about, what do you do versus Guardy? Well, the thing is with Gardevoir, is that you're 2-hit KOing them regardless, right? And so I'd rather have a card like Choice Belt where it doesn't have that restriction of being down on prizes like Defiance Band, right? And it allows me to proactively knock something out, with a gust, right? Makes sense? So I think it's incredibly useful. And, for the time being, it will be a Choice Belt, not a Defiance Band. We do have 2 Escape Rope, right? You can play 1 switch if you wanted to, right? But I do like the Escape Rope. An Energy Search. We're going to need some more consistency. A Hisuian Heavy Ball. So this is a great card. You're able to fetch it with Arven and Irida. Right, great at getting those, single card Pokemon like Drapion and Lumineon and Greninja, right? And then lastly, the energy for the deck. We do have 9 water energy, right? So I did cut the Lost Vacuum. I found that the Lost Vacuum wasn't really helpful, right? I'm not completely dependent on Path to the Peak, right? Path, sure, it shuts down, Greninja and Palkia Star Portal, right? But, with Star Portal, I'm using it, on turn 2, right? So if they get that Path later than turn 2, it doesn't really affect me. If they get it earlier, right, then just remember you still have the Revavroom and Melony, right? So it's not a complete shutdown, right? And then obviously it does shut down Lumineon, so that's kind of going to be tough. But you do have some draw cards in Serena, Research, and Judge, so it's not like, and obviously the Melony, so it's not like you can't move forward. So that is the list. Pretty simple matchups. So there are 4 rounds. The first round I played against Mew VMax, right? I had pretty much a perfect setup, right? I was ready to knock out their Mew V, right? And, I had 2 Ice Rider in play because I figured I'd need them in this matchup, right? 2 Palkia, a Greninja, and a Varoom. It was literally a perfect setup, right? And then, they played an Escape Rope. I had an Ice Rider active, and then I just switched it to the other Ice Rider. And then what ended up happening is then when they did that, then they benched the Meloetta, and I didn't know they were playing Meloetta, right? And they managed to get that turn 1 knockout with Melodious Echo, and I was pretty disappointed about that. I kind of felt a little bit let on, because, I don't really like that version, and it's not really the popular version, and I was just pretty much surprised to see it, right? So, and then from there, I wasn't able to get the the knockouts that I wanted. I should have maybe prioritized knocking out that Meloetta, because it did end up winning the game by knocking out one of my V Pokemon. I think it was a Palkia. So, but after they knocked out that first Ice Rider, I'm like, I was pretty disappointed. They didn't evolve the Mew to Mew VMax until way later, and I didn't have the Drapion or a chance to gust it, so that was just kind of really unfortunate. Game 2 and 4 were against, or both of them were the same deck. It was a Miraidon Regieleki VMax. Both were easy games, right? I had managed to get the KO on the Miraidon first. The first game, the second round, it was just completely one-sided. It was just Palkia VStar, and Subspace Swell for 3 consecutive turns to win the game. And then round 4, was, we traded back and forth. And, it got to a point where, I just put Ice Rider active. They couldn't knock it out. So, right, it's because they have to 2-shot it. And, that was pretty big. And then round 3, my other loss was against Giratina V-Star. And, they had an early Path to the Peak. And, I just drew dead. I had a full setup. I had Revavroom in play, and I didn't draw a supporter or an energy card. Right, so it was absolutely nuts. And I was trying for that boss choice belt Max Lance KO, they did on one of the Tinas. On one of them, they did have that leafy camo poncho where you can't boss it, but the other one didn't. So I figured that I could probably beat him that way. And then, when they would come up and start Requiem, I would just come in and respond KO pretty easily. That was kind of my goal with that, and then I just drew dead, so nothing I could really do about that. So 2-2, I ended up getting 8th place. I think it was out of like 20 people or so, which is not bad. I actually ended up getting my entry fee back just by placing 8th, so I'm kind of happy about that, but also kind of not happy because I didn't place where I wanted to place, and I felt like I should have. So, but that's what happens with league challenges, right? They're best of one. So, all right, awesome. Thank you so much for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and then don't forget to check out Deck Profile Friday. Last Friday's was pretty cool. It's the same thing. So I did have a tournament report on there. I will fill out a tournament report on this one. And then, this past Sunday's opening, right? So the Scarlet and Violet 3-packs, that was pretty good. So, but there you go. And then lastly, there will be that giveaway. So I will be doing a video on that this upcoming Saturday. Right, so that'll be pretty cool. Make sure you are subscribed if you want to participate in that. All right, there you go. Thank you so much, everybody, and see you in the next video.